Fantasy sports coaches, we are here to break down everything women's Aussie rules fantasy for GameDay Squad for round 3. So sit back, relax, as you know, we do our thing. I've got my co-host in Bales and Jaiden with me to break down a player's performance from a fantasy perspective and other breakdowns to help you all get game day ready. Fellas, I'll be ready. Round 3 wrap up. We're going to get through a lot of our analysis. It's a good round, hey? I'm excited to get into this one.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's do it then.
So, yeah, well, I'll go through my score and rank. Unfortunately, mate, you had me covered this week. I finished 15th for the week, 1970. So pretty happy. Everyone in my team scored really well, pretty well, and I'm still finishing, what's it, 140 points behind first for the week, which is, yeah, it's a bit frustrating, but 15th for the week's pretty good, and then overall rank of 21st for the season. So a little bit off the pace, about a couple hundred points off top 10, but hopefully we can keep pushing for top 10 finishing. So not a bad week, but still plenty to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jaiden, what about yourself, mate? Wrap up the round for us quickly.
Yeah, pretty good. Like scrolling through my team, a few good scores. Nothing really drastically went wrong, but yeah, just missing out on some of the really big scores. So not too bad, not too great, but yeah, right in the middle. So pretty happy with that.
Love it. And yeah, for me, as you can see, finished top 10 this week. Let's go. It's definitely something I had in mind. Wanted to do Garner doing some heavy lifting in my midfield as per usual. But I had Pound and Cordner from the Carlton Blues this week who didn't play to the level I thought. And, you know, if I'd maybe made some substitutions there, I could have been creeping for that first spot. But nonetheless, an awesome round. But these coaches you're about to see did even better. I'm fortunate enough to be part of this group this week. But Fighting Furies taking out our classic competition with 2,110 points. And then our champion competition, Fez Monkeys, 2,559 points to take it out this week.
Well, this is probably the first week that we've actually seen where one of the sort of the top ranked coach in the classic comp didn't actually finish in the champion comp top 10. So maybe does that mean that there's a few more of those platinums, diamonds, and stuff floating around in these sort of better teams in the champion comp, and maybe we might start to see sort of that gap between the champion comp and classic comp, which is probably what we expected as we get more into the season anyway.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, it is like the differential, in points. Nearly 2,600 taking it out. It looks like they're running away with it. You know, some weeks 6 maybe could have got in the top 10 for champion, but not this week. Champion are pulling away. But let's move it on. We'll get into our first segment of player analysis. What we're going to be doing is the Emojtrix. So we have some set ones we're going to go through, fellas. The lit performance of the round, the fire emoji. I'm going with Anti, who had 138 fantasy points this round, 3 goals, 12 marks. She just dominated in this matchup, and she's well deserving of the emoji.
Yeah, well, for me, I'm actually going to leave that. So I think performance that was lit, I'm going to shout out Bonnie Too Good again. She's been very, very solid in the forward line, just gets it done week after week. I'm lucky enough to own a gold Bonnie Too Good, and she's been my F1 the whole season, and she put up another 153 points as a gold, so a little bit less obviously for bronze and silver, but 153 points as a gold is very, very nice to have in my forward line. So she gets the lit performance, the lit emoji.
Yeah, and for me, I think there's no beating another forward. We've mentioned it plenty of times, but I'll go with Laura Gardner. I've got a silver in my forward line, and she did a lot of heavy lifting for my team. So yeah, that's my lit performance of the round. 194 points as a silver.
Just as you do, hey. We'll move it on. Exploding performance of the round. Jaiden, I'm going to take a little bit of what you just said. Mine was Laura Gardner. We know that she's been good. She's been, you know, the number 1 forward this year. But this was another level performance from her. 177, just as a bronze card. She finished as the forward 1 for the round. What more do I have to say? Exploded in performance. Well deserving again.
Yeah, well, I would go Laura Gardner as well for exploding performance, but I will say another name just so we sort of differentiate here. But I'm going to go Jazz Garner, Back-to-back 150-point games or 150-plus point games. She's just been an absolute machine so far this season, getting it done week after week, no matter the opposition. This week could be a bit tougher against Brisbane. Could copper Kathy Svartag, and I expect surely a quieter score for her. If she goes big again this week, then far out. I think she's going to go big against everyone until she retires. So, she was fantastic again. So she gets the explained performance, but Laura Garner there as well.
And I think the explosion for me was Keely Skepper from Carlton. Bit of a breakout. And I think she's got the keys to the midfield at Carlton. Not a lot of experience in there. And she came out and pumped out a 121 in GameDay Squad. Or if you had a silver, 133. So that's a bit of a breakout performance there.
Love that. Pod player for the exploding performance of the round. Awesome game she had. I'm going to move it on. Disappointing performance, or the stock down. Unfortunately, it's going to someone I started in my team. It's Harriet Cordner. She had 55 fantasy points this week. She averages 83.6 for the season. That's including that score. So it's probably a consideration. I think I'm going to bench her this week with her Richmond matchup. But yeah, I'll be posting more of that on my Twitter, so make sure you follow. But unfortunately, this week she's taken out that decredit. Demerit.
For me, disappointing performance of the round. Sort of not entirely her fault, but Chloe Malloy gets it this week. She did cop the Kathy's Vark tags, that's why she scored a bit lower. So I wouldn't be sort of panicking too much. She's got West Coast coming up this week, so if you've got her, I still think fire her up into your lineups, because I expect a big response this week.
And I'll go for Georgia Garnett from GWS. She did really well last year as a forward, but not quite the same fantasy upside that some wanted this year. And yeah, she scored 38 GameDay Squad points this week. So as a key forward, probably playing more like a key forward rather than a fantasy gun like she finished the year last year.
Yeah, the Giants' play style just isn't very fantasy friendly unless she names Parker in the midfield. She seems to be the only person that can score consistently. Someone's price who's going to increase. So it's sort of a buy now player for me. It's Hannah Priest. She's pushing for D1 honours this season. 87.6 fantasy score average, had 12 kicks, 8 tackles throughout the past game. Someone that you need to get in your 6 starting defenders. Otherwise, you'll be starting off on the back foot. She's been killing it.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me to split, so I'm going to actually just say 2 players. Sarah Rowe from Collingwood, she's getting it done. I've had her in my team, her silver the last couple of weeks. Just the inconsistencies will be there as a winger, but in the forward line, there's not too many options. I do like her. And then the other one I like is actually in the back line as well, Nicole Bresnahan. So people have been talking about Emma Carney as the main one back there, but Nicole Bresnahan is actually doing better than her this year. I think outscoring her in 2 of the 3 games. So yeah, Nicole Bresnahan, if you're sort of looking for a North Melbourne defender and you don't have Carney, I think Bresnahan's another one. So her and Sarah Rowe's prices are going to start creeping up if you don't get on now. So I'll be jumping on.
And I'll go for, I mentioned another Carlton midfielder called Keely, but I'll go to Keely Shearer this time. She's put together a pretty solid year so far. Even though she just played West Coast, that was her lowest score of the year. So she's been putting up consistent 90 to 100 range, and she's only 20 years old. So that could be a midfielder you need going forward in a dynasty platform.
Beautiful. Just like GameDay Squad. So make sure you get your hands on her soon. Otherwise, everyone's going to catch on. But it's time to go rogue. We pitched 2 emojis of our own. I'll start off with my 2 this week, fellas. I'm going to go what I think is the praise emoji, but I'm not using it to pray. It's this motion in particular. I'm not sure if you can see me right now. Yeah. It's Ann Ty, who had the hands of glue on the weekend. She was the reason the Dockers closed out in a tough game against Hawthorn. As I said before, 138 fantasy points. She had 12 marks. And if we can see Ty constantly dominate aerial battles, like the way she did on the weekend, then we might need her in all of our forward lines moving forward. So that is well deserving. And my next one, I'm going to use the brain emoji, and the reason is it's going to be for the Carlton defence. We've seen some massive scores from this line group throughout the first 2 weeks of the season, but last week Many coaches would have been concerned about some of the scores the players had, the likes of Pound and Cordner. Should you only be selecting one of them for your team? Should you be stacking them? Or maybe are you benching both and looking elsewhere? So I'm going to be thinking hard about this decision. I'll be making this decision throughout the week. So yeah, keep an eye on my Twitter and we'll see what happens. But definitely one to put some thought into, fellas.
Yep. My two players that are getting the unique emojis. First one's actually going to go to Stocks Up, which is Anne Hatchard. So first couple of weeks, people probably looked at her and sort of gone, oh, she's sort of going through the motion. She got, I think, in terms of fantasy points, she got a 90 and then a low 100. But last week went bang with 133 points. I don't have a game day squad points from last week, but it would have been about that 140 odd mark. So she went big, so keep an eye out for her and put her in your lines if you've got her. And then the other one is that I don't know if there's like a sort of a don't worry emoji, like a don't stress one. I don't know if there's one, but I'll create one anyway. It's for Kiara Bowers. People concerned about a bit of a sort of a quieter game. Only had the 104 points in terms of fantasy points. So again, GameDay Squad, just don't have the stats up here in front of me at the moment, but only had the 8 tackles. I think there's only been a handful of games in her career where she's had less than, only had single-digit tackles. So I expect her to respond pretty well this week. And I think Liam said on the Twitter space with us, Tom, on Sunday night that she seemed to get to the ball first a lot more than what the Hawthorn mids did. The Hawthorn mids sort of seemed to sort of stand a foot back or so. So I expect this week against the Bombers, I expect Carabaos to go back and go bang and have a huge game.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that as well. She's actually scored 8 fantasy tons in a row, and that's actually equaled her own record. So she's not slowing down anytime soon. And for my 2 emojis, I'm gonna pick. Well, firstly, I'll go with a question mark emoji. It's just something for coaches to think about that own Montana Ham. She returned this week. Had a little bit of a niggle in the game and was rested for most of the game. So definitely not available to play on your field yet. But we obviously know she's a long-term prospect in GameDay Squad. Number 1 pick from last season. So it's just a question mark. What do you think her value is? Do you think you could pass her off or hold on to her? It's just a question. And
could be a buy low actually.
Yeah, and my second one, I've gone for like a just like a shush one, kind of just under the radar, a bit of a quiet pick, just quietly getting it done. Maddie Prasparkas, obviously Georgie has been pretty popular so far this year, but Maddie's just been getting it done round about that 100 mark every game, and I think with the run of the Bombers coming up, she could really push those top 5 mids from here on out.
Love that. Yeah, I've been big on the Maddie Prasparkas because I think she's been criminally underrated this season. But it's just because so many other players have been tunning up and dropping some crazy scores throughout. So she's flying under the radar big time. I love that one from you, Jaiden. But let's move it on. We're going to go to my bronze squad. Bit of nostalgia. I get to pull up the old RuneScape character in his bronze armor this week. The bronze squad, I'll quickly do the analysis. 2,195 points would have been a perfect score for the round, which means you would have taken out first place in the classic competition and you would have been 8th place in the champion competition. So yes, bronze squad would have finished 8th. This week, I did some analysis, had a look through. I've got some takeaways from the bronze squad because I know I give you the perfect team. I show you who you should have played, but let me. I've done a little bit of study. So no defender has made it in the bronze squad all 3 weeks. So it has changed from week to week. There's been no consistent there. In the midfield, Jasmine Garner and Ebony Marinoff are the only midfielders that have made it all 3 weeks in the bronze squad. So if you're looking for consistency inside of your midfield, look no further than those 2 players currently. I know you said Garner maybe has a harder matchup this week, but gosh, she's been good to start this year. The ruck position, it's changed every single week. Morford has been twice, Strom on the first week. So yeah, no ruck has taken it out each week. And then for the forward line, there's only been 1 forward who has featured in all 3 weeks. Fellas, do you want to have a guess at who that might be?
She's too good.
Oh, it's got to be Laura Gardner.
Oh, no. Oh, sorry, of course. Laura Gardner, what am I doing? No, it's Too Good been 2 of the 3 weeks?
She has, but Laura Gardner is the one that has made it all 3. You both got it,
Liam.
nailed it on the head. So there you go. Little Bronze Squad breakdown this week. Would have finished 1st in the Classic, 8th in the Champion. So as you know, I'm keeping a tally. That is 3-0 for the Bronze Squad. If you're going to finish and rank top 10 in both, surely that's a massive W. So that just goes to show if you do have your bronze players and you can set the perfect lineup, you can win Game Day Squad's weekly competition. So definitely don't undervalue your bronzes. They are the key to completing your team. Bang, we're done. Now we're going to move it on. Bales, mate, the transfer market master. It's time for you to inform us who people need to be targeting. Take it away, brother.
Yeah, well, bloody hell, I can't believe I got that wrong. I was so keen on doing the Too Good pun that I completely just dismissed Gardner. So sorry, Liam, I should have said Gardner first. But yeah, so transfer market analysis, sort of normally we'll go through the people value, but I thought I'd just say one note about Laura Gardner on the transfer market we were just saying about. I don't know if you guys have seen her price, but her price has skyrocketed. It is very, very, people are trying to pay a premium. They're asking for, if it's a bronze Gardner, a few people asking for silver, like Marinoffs and stuff like this. So you can clearly see people want Laura Gardner in their side if they don't have her. So you're lucky enough to own her. You're in a very good spot. But transfer market analysis, a few players that you might want to pick up that sort of a little bit cheaper, but maybe increasing in price. So I mentioned a couple of them in the Emojtrix section, but Sarah Rowe and Nicole Bresnahan are 2 that I'd be looking at if you don't own them already. Sarah Rowe's been very consistent this year. As I said, I've got her silver and she's averaging 110.7, so an average of 100.6 for points for each game of the season, which is very, very nice having the forward line there for her bronze. So she's been very, very good. And the other one was Nicole Bresnahan, who has been going at an average of 84.6 for bronze, 93.1 for your silvers. So she's going very nicely in defence, and I believe that would put her in the top 5. So trying to get on one of those couple is a good idea. A couple of others that might be a bit cheaper. I think A. McDonald's a good pick-up as well. I think, again, we've probably been talking about Georgie Prasparkas a bit, but I think A. McDonald had a bit of a quieter game in the weekend, but I expect her to go back to her high-scoring ways this week against Port Adelaide in a decent match-up there. And then you mentioned her before. I think it was Jaiden that said about. Was it Jaiden that said about Maddie Prasparkas? Was that Jaiden? Was that you? Was it? Yeah. So Maddie Prasparkas, I think, is another one that is being underrated. So you might be able to get her in a bit of a cheaper deal. So she's one that I'd be targeting with a decent run coming up as well. So yes, that's pretty much it for the transfer market analysis. The other one as well, actually, that's gone up a lot in price or in terms of value is Ali Morfitt. People asking for a premium for her. So, yeah, she's clearly the ruck that people want in their side.
Gosh, Morfitt's been having a season. And, you know, if you were here round 1, you would have heard me, and even in the live room at AFL Fantasy Fanatics on Twitter, gassing her up. So you could have got in early if you were here before. Now, as you said, the price might not be right. Might be a little bit too expensive. Bales, thanks for wrapping up the transfer market this week for us. But it's time to move it on. We have our next part, our pop-out picks. Jaiden, mate, take it away this week.
Yeah, it's time for some pop-out picks that you might not have heard of. You could have this card sitting in your reserves and you have no idea it's there, but I could potentially enlighten you and, you know, you might want to put that player on the field. I noticed with our bronze squad just before, we've had a few graduates from the pop-out picks straight into the bronze squad. So I think Mia King from a couple of weeks ago flagged her, bang, straight in. So our segments are going really well here. And
Beautiful.
We've started off with Amy Smith as a defender. She's been going really well. And I wanted to flag her purely because North Melbourne's next 3 weeks to a month is pretty good as a fixture. And she's been getting it done. Averaging 69.9 points and plenty of tackles as well. So, you want to get her on your field for the next month or so where North Melbourne's fixture really opens up. If she can average 69 in those last 3 rounds, and then she's got good matchups coming up, could be pushing 80. So, you want to get her on your field now. In the midfield, bit more of a younger focus. Tiana Smith has been. She started off slow in round one, but she was coming back from a long injury write-off, and now she's hit form. She's putting up really impressive numbers for a young player. So potentially you want to try and either get one on the market now or sit there with yours and feel happy. I've got two of them, so I'm certainly keen to see what happens in the future. And yeah, I think there's plenty of upside there this season, going at 78 points. But yeah, as I said before, round one was really low, so you have to factor that in. The last couple of weeks, really good. And the key thing, again, is the tackles. And then in the forward line, Zali Goldsworthy caught my eye this week. Highly rated youngster and nominated for the Rising Star, I think maybe last week or the week before. She's going at 66 and pretty much like Tiana Smith, started off the year a little bit slow, even though plenty of fantasy coaches thought she had lots of upside. And as soon as they've put her out of their team, now she's hit her straps. And yeah, averaging 66, but again, started off slow, starting to come into it. So maybe she's down the list in your reserves a little bit when you saw it by average. But yeah, she's starting to score well now, and I think it's someone you want to consider for your starting lineup in GameDay Squad.
And this week as well with Goldsworthy, Alicia Eva, I'm pretty sure has been suspended for a week, and also Elise Parker. We still don't know the extent of her knee injury, but if she's out as well, I expect Goldsworthy to be one of the first in there. So I love the pick of Goldsworthy.
Beautiful. Wrapping up our pop-out picks for the week. Make sure you're targeting these players. Have a look at the transfer market. We're trying to help you out. Make sure your team gets even better than what it already is. We're going to move it on to my favourite part of the show. It is our pack battles. And fellas, I know you gave me some scrutiny last week for including a pack of mine. So don't worry, I won't be doing that this week. I've got two people from our Discord. And I'm pretty excited for this one. I've pulled it up on the screen right now. You can see the packs. I'm going to give you a second to analyze. The rules are you're both going to vote on which pack you think is better. And then if it does come to a tiebreaker, I'll hop in and decide. But you guys take your time, whatever you need, and we'll see in a second who's going to win it this week.
So I like both the packs. They've both got a few good players in there. I'm liking the Auntie Boogers pack there with Riddell and Hatchard there, and even Davidson could be a little bit handy in your forward line as well with not as many options. Maybe an Avesio as well, depending on matchups. But I'm actually going to go for Swedish Chef's pack. I think if you're comparing, I really like Marinoff in there. Obviously, one of the top cards you can get in the game. Bonnie Too Good, as we mentioned a few times, one of the best forwards so far this season, and I think she would be the number one forward overall. Actually, no, second. Sorry, behind Gardner again. I'm doing it again. How dare I? And then Claudia Whitford as well in the midfield, who's been again. Charlie Robon, the main one there, but Claudia Whitford just quietly going about her business, so she could have been another one we could have included in the Emojtrix section as well. So I'm going to go for Swedish Chef's pack on the right.
Love it.
Yeah, that's a good point, Bales. I think, yeah, just from an initial look, I do like Riddell and Hatchard. But yeah, we're looking for depth in GameDay Squad, and I know they're platinum cards, so they probably don't interest me, but potentially could be beneficial. So Whitford, as you mentioned, going really well this year, and Eliza West. So as platinums, not bad, and there's also a diamond in there. I know Lakay got dropped last week, but with the Eagles struggling in there, maybe she can come back, I think. And yeah, Marinoff and Too Good, don't really need any more praise. Emily Everest played this week, scored quite well, so that could be one that has some value this season. So I'm going to go with Swedish Chef as well.
Oh, and there you have it. Congratulations, Swedish Chef. I'll be in touch with you on the Discord, and you'll get some more packs, and maybe you can pull some more players like you have there. That is a fire pack. Unfortunately, Auntie Booger, you just get beaten out. And of course, if you want to submit a pack, please join our Discord. It's free. There's a link on our website, www.gamedaysquad.com.au. click there. And if you're going to open a pack on the platform, you may as well post it in there because you never know. You might just win pack of the week. But next week, fellas, I'm going to change up the criteria. We've been doing the best packs. I think we need to help out some people who have the worst packs. So what I want to see this week on the Discord is your stinkers. If you got a stinker this week, post it. Make sure that it's up there because maybe we can sort you out and get you some good ones by our next show. So does that sound good? We'll keep an eye out for that, fellas.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds good, but I wish I knew this before because, my previous pack was absolutely terrible. Come on.
Oh, mate. Well, maybe you need to put that in the Discord and you'll be in the running to win it. But, guys, that's going to wrap us up for another episode of our Women's Aussie Rules show here at GameDay Squad. Fellas, where can everyone find you at? You're doing your own beautiful work. So, Bales, where can everyone watching find you?
You can find me at BalesDT on Twitter or X and Instagram. Obviously, me and you, Tom, doing the Twitter space every Sunday night. Live stream as well on the GameDay Squad YouTube channel on the Thursday. So make sure you guys tune to that. And then I'm at TrulyBalesHD on YouTube as well. So make sure you go and subscribe there.
Good man. Subscribe, follow him on Twitter. And Jaiden, what about yourself, mate? Where can everyone find you?
Yeah, mainly on Twitter as well, at Jaiden_Koposki. That's where I put a lot of the content that I spend too much time on.
Beautiful, and we're going to continue to spend much more throughout the season. So fellas, cheers for tuning in, and for everyone watching, smash a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll catch you all next week in the next one. Peace out.
See ya.